Welcome, everyone. We're going to give about a minute and then we will get started. Love to hear where you're at in your program. Introduce yourself in the chat. Today, we're talking about fundraising and sponsorships. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for coming. We are going to talk about fundraising and sponsorships. Today, we are featuring Adam Cowart and Dana Paul from Ritual Motion. I'll give a little introduction. We are recording this. I will be sending out this recording after, usually takes me a day or two. With any important resources that we have found along with this presentation, with the links that are in the presentation. It's usually in a PDF with the clickable links so that you can follow up on any of the information that you're trying to learn about. And then we will be kind of switching between presentation and sharing screens. So please be patient while we do that. So let's get started. So I'm going to introduce Adam to you. Adam is a Spanish teacher and esports coach. He's also a super coach at Evans High School in Georgia. He pioneered the first esports program in his area and collaborated with coaches from 4 local schools to help get them started. He is now to about 15 players in your program. And he's been spotlighted on multiple local shows and with Playverses about his sponsorships and esports program. Thank you for joining us today, Adam.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And then we also have special guest Dana Paul. Dana is the co-founder and CEO of Ritual Motion, a Rhode Island-based company focused on the health and wellness of gamers in the esports community. It was established in 2019. The brand has enjoyed rapid growth in one of the most vibrant and dynamic emerging global industries. I really love checking out Ritual Motion. If you haven't already, you should go check them out. They have great articles and content. Slight plug there because I think they're great. So thank you, Dana, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me also. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. So we're going to be talking about how to secure sponsorships, some fundraising best practices ideas, and then we're going to look into what Ritual Motion offers for varsity programs. And then at the end, we have Q&A. Please feel free to use the Q&A feature throughout the presentation. We may stop and ask the questions then if that makes sense with what we're talking about, or we may decide to wait until the end. We try to make sure to address all questions by the end of the session. If you just popped in and you haven't introduced yourself, love to get to know who's here. Are you a beginning program? Is this your 3rd or 2nd year? Where are you at in that fundraising sponsorship journey? So I am going to stop sharing and turn it over to Adam. And Adam, you should be able to share your screen directly.
Okay. Okay. So do y'all see my desktop?
Yes.
Okay, good. Don't mind the clutter. So the first thing on the agenda is it said setting goals and purpose. What do you need and why? And one person who's also gotten some really big funding is one of our esports coaches, Robbie Hernandez. And I reached out to him and I said, what can you tell me about getting a grant? Because I've never done a grant before, but I would love to. And I'll keep this short. He said, I've received 3 grants over the past year. The first was for a Switch, SSBU, and accessories. The second was for another Switch and accessories. The final was for $5,000 and paid for 5 gaming computers. And this is when it was talking about the question was communicating why you need funding. And I really liked what he said. He said, when looking for grants, I always try to phrase things in a way that supports students. You always need to think about what's lacking at your school and why the money would fill that need. For example, my students didn't need esports; they needed a community in school that did not have they did not have an athletics ROTC band. Therefore, the money would help keep kids in school because extracurricular activities help students to be more successful in life. He said you could also mention longevity. People don't like to pay for something that's going to be consumed and gone. The computers will be He's saying the last 8 years with the components and everything. So I really liked the way that he worded that you really kind of keep it centered on the children. Um, so the next part, it wanted me to speak about reaching out to business. So there's a lot of ways to go about this. The what I did when I sat down, one thing that's tough to do is sometimes it's tough to get a corporate sponsor. I don't know how many. Did Melanie leave? I don't know how many no's I got, especially from the big companies. Some were polite no's, some were brush offs, like the really big companies, like people you would expect, Best Buy, Dell, just the big names in technology and people like that. One place that I did find was really good was local businesses. A friend of mine that I went to college with owns a very successful auto shop, and he actually offered to sponsor us even before I asked. And so he said, "Put me down. What do you need?" And the other thing I did, which is probably one of the more clever things I've done, is I got on Google Maps Street View, and I literally use this to drive down the street. So here's a bank, and then you go down, and there's a lending firm. So I was going down Broad Street downtown, and then I came across Source Code Escape Games. And I said, that sounds pretty cool. Let me reach out to them. So I reached out to them and I said, this is who we are. I showed them our little official letter that I made, which says, we have an esports team. If you would sponsor our team, we will put your logo on our jersey. We will hold an event in your name and say it was sponsored by you. And I had reached out to so many people that I was getting kind of discouraged. Okay, I got a notification here that Mel just lost power, but it looks
Mm.
like we're still live, so we'll just keep going. Um, so I gotten so many no's that I wasn't giving up because I don't give up, but I was just like everybody's saying no, 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 and then I saw out of nowhere an email from Source Code Escape Games, and um, the message said, "Do you still have a $500 spot left on your shirt?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, we do." And he said, "I would love to sponsor your team." And I was like, "That's so awesome." And he went on to say he believes in what we're doing. He thinks it's great. And he said, "I would love to get one of the jerseys as well." So I said, "Of course." So I had him a jersey with his name and number printed on the back, says Vinny. And so the jersey, so that's one thing I did is I just literally just took a drive around my town like this, just going one place to the other and seeing what's there, because there's local restaurants, there's local stores, and just all sorts of prospects that are there. And so I would say there's a few things to do. Number one, think local. Think about businesses in your area that would like to get their name out there. They probably have an advertising budget. So we got the auto shop, we got the escape games. So we were able to get those as well. And another one, also think about businesses in your town that have an interest in entertaining teenagers. Mini golf, top golf, skating rinks, bowling alleys, um, all sorts of different businesses, movie theaters. Anybody who has an interest in connecting with entertaining teenagers, I think would be very interested in in being represented. So as far as how I addressed these, I did both. I drove around town. I physically handed them a letter, and so I would walk in their shop. I would ask to speak to the owner, things like that. I would say, from my personal advice, I think email is preferable, um, because it got a lot of responses. There's no pressure of this person who's coming to their shop asking for something. So I think that really took the pressure off of them and gave them more time to think about it. So I did, like I said, even the ones that said no, most people at least got back to me. But if I were you, I would not start with corporate businesses. I would really think local. Think about who you know, like maybe connections you've made through your family or with college, and ask your players, do you know somebody? Because you would be surprised just how many people know somebody who owns a construction firm, or who, works for this or that, or an equipment rental company, and you never know, because that already gives you a foot in the door. Next was budget. So first you need to find out what your school or your county will pay for, because like I said, I began my program from absolutely nothing. We did not have one computer on campus that would run things like Rocket League. And so I started to think, what can I do? So I emailed the county office and I asked him, uh, are you able to help us build 6 gaming computers? And he said, don't tell anybody about it, which, to be fair, I haven't told that many people, but I had to tell somebody. And I said he told me to keep it on the low. But what he did, our like county technology guy, he said, I will pull some money from the parts budget and build your computers. And he was not the most on top of things as far as gaming hardware goes. Not to say anything bad about him, it's just, he's a school tech guy. And he gave me an estimate that was above our budget. It was he's like, I can build them, but they're not going to have video cards, and they're going to be this much money, which was like 1,500 each. And so I got together with my friend Chaz, who is a technology guy at Johns Hopkins University and has a passion for building gaming computers. He and I went on Newegg and PC Part Picker, and we spent about an hour. And here are the specs, which I'm more than happy to share. So this is our CPU, the cooler, the motherboard, the memory, and they all came out to be like $1,400, just shy of that. So this is with the video card, under what the other guy said. So he basically said, okay, and he ordered our stuff. They assembled them and delivered them to our school, and I was like, oh yeah, because I was prepared to build all these things, not that I wanted to. So that was great. So check with your school and your county and tell them, this is for the children, this is for the school, it's a recognized athletic sport, and we need this equipment the same as the soccer players need the balls in the field and the goal. And if you can secure your own computers, it's ideal, because you're not going to have people messing around with them. Um, Also, things to consider in your budget. Like at my school, they pay me $900 to coach a season, and they said, because the budget cuts this year, we're only going to pay you for one. And I said, okay. So I coached last season, and now I'm coaching this season for free, because I wanted the kids to be able to have a team. So that didn't stop me. When I signed up to be a coach, I didn't know I was going to get paid anyway. I just thought it would be fun. And then they said they're going to pay me, and I was like, all right, that sounds even better. So, so keep in mind what your school's budget is, because like I said, they could afford to pay me for one season, but not for the other. But like I said, that didn't stop me. Um, Also, I'm currently working on raising $500 to pay our Super Smash Brothers coach, who is a former student of mine, and now he's an adult, which is super cool, because he's a really fun guy. He's great with the kids. So we're going to pay him ourselves, because it's not in the budget, and I don't want him to coach a whole season for free. Um, so let's see. So I has covered that. So like I said, email I think is ideal. You can paste, you can attach your whole letter. Like the letter that we have, the first letter I made looks like this. So I'm introducing myself. I said, I've worked hard setting this up. My team has been great. They make me really proud. And then I start dropping names. I said, a local business, Butler Automotive, gave us a sponsorship, and we have their logo proudly displayed on our jerseys. They'll receive media recognition when we make our official announcement to the press. So I tell them, here's what we have, here's what we need. And I even made a little follow-up letter. It's like it says, this is a last call for sponsorship, just checking back in. And again, the whole thing is just as straightforward, it's honest, it's no pressure. It's just me letting them know, here's who we are and here's what we need. Um, so let's see. So also, one thing to consider is figure out how you will either repay or represent your sponsors. because many times when people are handing you money, they're doing it hoping for something in return. I mean, sometimes you'll find somebody who just says, "I'm just trying to be supportive," and they just give it to you and walk away, which would be great. But it's nice to give them some return on their investment, because truly, it's coming from their advertising budget. So, what I did is I gave my sponsors. This was our first year. Our only sponsor was Butler Automotive. We put them on the sleeve, and the next year, this current year, there's the source code escape games. We put it nice and big on the front. On the back, Butler Automotive picked us up again, and the white was removed. It looks even better than it seems here. And we had some extra space, so I tacked on to Rocket League and League of Legends just because it looked cool. And so, so I gave them representation on our jersey. I um, also I'm holding an event for each one of our sponsors. So we haven't done fundraising for our own team, but we've done two charitable events, because I think it's very important to teach the kids about giving back, especially when you're giving back to children. So the first one I did was an event that I called Mega Plan, like Mega Man. So our Mega Plan was to raise money. It says Mega Plan Sting Cancer, and the whole idea was to raise money. And my favorite thing to do is just to give it all to the Children's Hospital. Everything that we get, we hand it to them, and I think that's a very positive thing. So we sold T-shirts. So we sold the shirt itself, and this is where I learned about how lucrative advertising is. On the back of the shirt, it looked like this, and it was, this much for this big of a spot, and then it got cheaper and smaller. And I'm going to tell you what, the majority of all the money that we made came from selling these squares on the back of a t-shirt. I mean, I'm telling you, if there's anything to learn, it is how much money you can make through advertising. It made me understand every TV commercial I've ever seen, because that is what makes the money, and I mean big money. So I can't, it's been too long. It's been like 4 or 5 years since I did this, but it was a lot of money that we made simply by selling those logos on the back of a t-shirt. And we made flyers. So we collaborated with the local gaming lounge kind of place. So it was just $15. It came with all these bonuses. We had a $2 raffle for an NES with a pile of games. T-shirts were $15, and here you can see it says all profits go to the Children's Hospital of Georgia. And I can tell you, if you want to raise money for your team, that's great, and I'm all for it, and I'm going to do that as well. If you ever are interested in doing a charity, I can tell you people really open their wallets for charity, especially if they know it's going towards something to help children and things like that. So that was really huge. And I'm trying to remember how much money we made, but I think it was like $1,300, and that's pretty good. It's a donation. It's definitely something, and you of course involve the kids. You let them, you know, be a part of it and all that sort of thing. Um, Also, I can show you. We made social media things. Um, I made a YouTube video that we shared around, and you can see this video has 345 views. So we shared this video. I don't know if y'all can hear can y'all hear the music? The music makes it that much better, but don't worry about it. So we kind of showed some, picture some kids. So anyway, so we did all that sort of thing. So that was Mega Plan. The most recent one we did, which was last year, we called the Ghoul Games because it was around Halloween. And I'm going to tell you what, this was a rousing success. This is us, the Evans Knights. Greenbrier Wolfpack had just started an esports team, and the coach was interested in doing a collab. And I said, well, why don't we piggyback and we'll do a charity tournament? So basically, it was $10 to enter the tournament. We advertised Smash Brothers, Mario Kart 8, Rocket League, and Madden. The strange thing, from both schools, only Smash Brothers and Mario Kart were the ones to respond. but it was a big response. So we threw the other two out and we said, that's fine. So every person who competed paid $10. We also did side events for $1, fastest speed run in Mario Brothers Level 1-1, and longest hit contest in the Super Smash Brothers Home Run. And again, it says all proceeds will be donated to Children's Hospital. And like I said, one thing that makes me excited is I mean, we gave 100% of the money to the hospital. We raised $475, and every cent of it we just handed to them. I have a photo of me handing them the check. So along with that, we had the location, date, time. We held it in our auditorium, which was on the big screen, and me and another guy were announcing, which was great because they'd be like, one person would be driving as Link in Mario Kart, and he would be on the Hyrule course, and the other guy was like, "Oh well, looks like Link's gonna have a home field advantage on this one," and like we just announced the whole thing, and it was a big success. So I had two links. I had a QR code as well as the actual address. So to compete, they went here, they typed their name, school, and what they wanted to compete in. And this was just another link for open donations where they could just donate, and they could put their name, they could put how much they donated. So like I said, that was a big success, and we'll definitely do that again. Let's see. So as far as goals, figure out how many machines do you have, how many do you need. We have 6, and that lets us have 2 Rocket League teams that play at the same time, as well as League of Legends that uses 5 of them. Um, like I said, shop around for the best cost. I'm sure that some of the kids would be glad to help you with that because they know their hardware, the PC gamers. Another thing that I'm going to do for a fundraiser. Now, Dana, what was the company called that you're with?
Ritual motion.
Ritual Motion. So that is, and I'm not going to steal your spiel or anything. I'm just going to mention that it's a company that lets you raise funds through selling clothes. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
So one of my students actually came up today and she said, "I'm doing some graphic design. Do you need anything for your program?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like an angel sent to me." So I gave her some ideas and she came up with this. She put this all together. So we're the Evans Knights, and our Rocket League team is called Nightmare. So I wanted to, it was spelled with a K. I know it was pretty cool. I was trying to kind of tap into that kind of spooky vibe. And I actually, to see what the kids would want to buy, I actually typed in rap hoodie. Like they're always wearing hoodies from their favorite rappers. So anyway, so I found like a rap T-shirt, and it looked like this had the X's over the eyes and looked all cool. So I was just trying to figure out what would the kids buy. So again, that's my idea, is try to have a look at what the kids are wearing and what they're into, because I honestly think it's pretty cool, and some of my players said it was pretty cool. The word dope may have been used. I'm just not trying to blow that up too big. um as far as grants, what I did, again, I'm just kind of getting a toe in the water with the grants and all that, but what I can tell you is I typed in on Google esports grants for schools, and there's a ton of things. I would just go down the list if I were you and see which one fits. I know one thing that they considered is, if you can find out your school's free and reduced lunch rate, find out any kind of information, demographic information like that, and it might get you a foot in the door with some people they're trying to help out schools like that. Like my school, I think it was like 34% or something like that, and that was able to open a few doors. Now, one sponsor I can tell you that was really cool was and I'm more than happy to share this information. So I reached out to HyperX. If you don't know HyperX, they make hardware, keyboards and mice and headsets and things like that. And I'll show you my email to him. I said, well, I've copy and pasted these. I basically sent him the usual spiel. I'm a teacher. I have an esports team at Evans High School. We're looking for sponsors. And again, we can hold an event in your name. We can put your logo on our jersey. There's a lot of things we can do. And I was just throwing it out there, hoping for something good. And he said, So I thought at first I thought this was a no. So I'll make it bigger so we can all see it together. He said, "Hi, Adam. Thanks for reaching out and considering HyperX for this opportunity. We don't have the resources to provide any monetary contributions at this time, but we would be happy to provide some recertified product to outfit your roster in exchange for some branding and logo inclusion on your marketing materials. Um, so if you can, let us know how much you need. And here's the important part, what the value exchange would look like for the level investment you're seeking." So basically, they sent us 6, and I'm talking factory new, these were in the box, 6 mechanical keyboards, 6 headsets, and 6 gaming mice. And I said, we have 10 players on our Rocket League team, 6 for League of Legends. For your investment, we'll put your logo on the front of our jersey, the same size as the 500 spot paid by the other 2 businesses. In addition, we'll mention you as a sponsor anytime we get press coverage, which I did. And finally, we'll hold a live stream event that is brought to you by HyperX. At halftime, we can show photos, videos of your products. And I told him I need a nice high-res picture of the logo if he can send it to me. So he says, that's great. We're happy to do it. Now, here's one thing to expect when dealing with businesses. Some businesses, especially local, they will send you a nice high-resolution picture where you can blow it up on your jersey, and it'll look really good. So he said, I appreciate it, but our compliance team requires a lengthy list of documentation. Long story short, for HyperX to have their logo on something, they need to communicate with the manufacturer. They need to make sure it's this size, it's not tilted, it's red number 147 and gray number 392. Like, it's really, really technical. So just expect that. Which is a shame because I really wanted to put the HyperX logo because it looks good. It's got the big X and everything. So that was a bummer. But either way, he did send us the stuff, and that was exciting to get like 3 boxes of really brand new, nice stuff. And the kids have verified it's really good. They love the headsets, they love the keyboards, and everything is really good. So I think that's just about all that I had to share. Just never underestimate the power of social media. If you can get the right kids to share things around, if you can get it out there, you can create a YouTube video like I did, send out the link for people to show to their class, and just make posters, get it in the announcements. I always just try to saturate things like that. And so I think that's about covered everything that I was going to go over.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Again, sorry everyone lost power and had to have other people cover and get this started again. Thank you so much for your patience. I am going to take back over the screen. Okay. Again, thank you so much. Kind of like what Adam was saying, there's like just some few best practices. Like he did the setting the goals, doing some cost estimates, and having proposals. And I don't know if I heard you say this, Adam, but I'm pretty sure you usually go and get your administrative approval before doing.
Oh yeah, but before doing anything, I mean,
Okay.
even when I make an announcement, I send it to the principal first.
Okay. And then we had a question for you that I think is important before we move on. Gabriel asked, do students handle all of the event organizing and sponsor relationships? We're hoping to teach ours to run most of the events, train on internal events, and run an annual one for the local community.
They were very hands-on. The night of the event of our last the Ghoul Games, when we hosted the other school in our auditorium, they were all too happy to help, and so were the drama kids. The drama kids, they mic'd us up, they turned on the sound system, they got the AV stuff, and they were all too happy to do that as well, even though it was in the evening. But yeah, they were definitely hands-on in that. Let me read that question again. It was kind of a long one. I haven't had them do the sponsorship before, but you can. I was talking to one of the other teachers that used to coach a competitive cheerleading team, and she said that each one of them, as the kids, was responsible for raising $500, which is crazy, and which I'm sure is very typical of such a thing. It's just, to me, it's like astronomical amounts of money. But yeah, I would, if you would really like to get them hands on with the fundraising. I've always had this idea. I think you should have them dress up nice, give them the official letter, and also nothing that is going to the child, because nobody wants to think they're going to be getting scammed. Give them something that says, here's a link to my teacher's webpage, or you can email my teacher, and it's going to be a school email address. And it teaches them about professionalism and hard work. So I've always thought that would be a great idea. Have them dress up nice, hand them the letter, and then they have to go out and as a high school, that's a big thing. They walk in somewhere and say, "Can I please speak to the manager?" And then they sit down and they shake hands and look at somebody. Um, in addition to that, you could email them a letter and have them reach out to different things. It could be a letter that they paste in the email, and it says, "I'm a student on a sports team, and I'm trying to raise money." And I mean, people have a soft spot for kids, because I would venture to say that most adults do have kids, and so they're all too happy to help out children and students and schools, especially if they had some kind of vested interest in the community. So yeah, the kids, I mean, never underestimate what kids can do, especially ones that are dedicated. One of them even just took it upon himself to order 2 pizzas, because he knew we were going to be there for a while. So 2 pizzas showed up. He's like, "Oh yeah, guys, here's some pizza." And we said, "All right." So yeah, definitely. And they want to be involved. It is like, tomorrow, next year we want to have a FIFA team. So tomorrow after school, we're holding a FIFA tournament, and whoever wins gets a free spot on next year's team and a free jersey. And the kids are like, "What time can I come by?" They want to help. So I would say anything you can put their hands on, they will pick up the ball.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So that kind of goes with this slide, and we don't have much more time to go over them. I know that Adam talked specifically about ones that he used, but here's just a few other ideas. The one that I thought was interesting, that some people do, is like a community class. So kind of like, the tournament idea, but you're coming in and people are getting to learn some of the skills that your players know already. So like getting better at a specific game or something like that. So speaking of that, another option is going to ritual motion. So I'm going to hand it over to Dana. So thank you so much, Adam. You did a
Yeah,
wonderful job. Appreciate it.
thank you. You're welcome.
So Dana's going to talk about what ritual motion does and the options that you have there.
Yeah. I'll quickly just give so ritual motion. Our mantra is really simple. It's authenticity, inclusion, and diversity. So we really focus on the well-being of gamers, and really in 3 buckets: is health, wellness, and education, right? And everything we do has to kind of end with "for the good of gamers." So that's kind of who we are, and what we do. Um, these storefronts, and Adam, a couple of things. One, I love the fact that you got kids involved with charities. One of our big, and one of my personal initiatives is to help kids be more kind, right? And show that kindness is our superpower. And I think when you can get kids involved at a young age, you can kind of hardwire them to understand that, and the value of giving back, right? So I think that's great. And the other thing I would suggest also, I heard you with all these different things. When you look at other rec leagues in your area, so whether it be softball, lacrosse, soccer, who's ever sponsoring those folks, those are like easy targets, right? Because they've already made a commitment. They already are behind sports. And what you just have to remind them is, hey, by the way, that whole lacrosse team, the one common denominator is they also play video games. Right. That's the one thing I always say to folks is like, listen, yeah, a lacrosse player may not play tennis or may not play soccer, but all of them play video games. And so that's just a little thing I would add to your opportunities there going after. But But our storefronts really came to be this all happened when we were started to talking to a lot of the colleges, and we started reaching out to colleges, and we realized that some of these all of the schools are getting, they're getting funding, they're putting up these beautiful centers, and then the keys are kind of handed to like some junior or sophomore, and they say, okay, now run the facility. And that's where the funding stops. And every whether it's a NCAA school, Big East school, whoever it is, they're always doing fundraising, right? And even at the high school level. And the challenge is, how many boxes of popcorn is someone going to buy in the course of a year to raise money for a team or a league? And so what we said is, well, we have an idea. Um, the idea is that because we're tapped into all of these manufacturers, and everything is done on demand, so there's no inventories. That was one of the big things. Like Providence College, they came to us and they're like, listen, we needed to buy shirts and things like that, and um we had to buy minimums. And that kind of really crushed us, and we said, well, we have a better opportunity. And so all of everything that's on our stores, everything is done on demand manufacturing, so there's never going to be a minimum to our partners. The other thing about our storefronts too, and I can probably, let me see, I'm going to put something here in the chat. Um, the key factor is we give back to the schools, right? So that's one of our big things, is like, how can we give back to the school? So a percentage of all sales goes just directly right to the school. It goes directly to the school. It goes directly to that program. So it's one of these things where not only are they using it as an opportunity to get revenue, but they're also using it, and it's enhancing their brand, right? So yeah, you can sell a box of popcorn, but no one's going to realize it's from the esports team. So that was the other challenge, is that a lot of these teams, they were left to their own devices to come up with apparel and things like that. So that Blaze Fire game I put in the chat, that's a real example of what we do, right? So it's not only the gaming skins, which are really good for prevention of hand and wrist injuries, but it's also apparel, it's blue light glasses, and it's also more of a resource center. So all of these storefronts have, and yes, we do mask also. So all of the storefronts also have articles around health and wellness around them, right? So we want to make sure that this is a resource center, that not only for the team, but when they're sending this link out to parents and family and friends, they're going there and they're seeing that, like, the stigma of gamers is not like, it's okay if your child is in junior high and high school. There's a pathway to college, there's a pathway to career, and it doesn't mean that they're going to be 26 years old living in your basement eating Doritos all day, right? And that's one of our big things. Our big thing is to help educate, and I think the idea is you need to educate and start educating at the junior high and high school level. Not educating the kids because they get it, it's more about educating the parents. And that's one of the other things with these resource centers, is these pages that we put together. The other thing that was really important to us is, like I said, it's a big mantra for us, author, inclusion and diversity. So everything we do, we make sure we have a couple of price points on. So not everyone's going to be able to afford a $70 hoodie. So we make sure we have a couple of different price points. And we've actually had schools come to us and say, can we even do like a 3-tier price point? And the answer is yes, because once again, we have all these relationships with manufacturing. Everything's done on demand. So if someone wanted a high-end Under Armour hoodie, they can get that. If someone wanted a mid-range price point hoodie, they can get that. And if someone wanted a lower price point hoodie, they can get that. So the idea is to have inclusion, right? You want these kids to be wearing the stuff, wearing around the school, just like the football team does, just like the lacrosse team does, the field hockey team does. You want these kids to have that same feeling. So, they're proud of what they're doing and what they're about. And that's how this whole concept and idea came to us, and what we really started rolling out with it.
That's amazing. I love the tiered price. So a quick question on your example, are there other merch opportunities? So been asked about like mouse pads, coffee mugs, things like that.
So most of the soft goods we do right now, so even backpacks, apparel is pretty endless, because of the fact that we have these relationships. So apparel kind of goes on. Some of those hard goods like coffee mugs, water bottles. Our challenge is we want to make sure that when we do something, we vet out the person that can provide those. So the last thing we want is a school to get involved as a partner, and then all of a sudden everybody orders five, mouse pads, and then that partner really couldn't deliver. So we really want to focus on things that we can deliver, the quality is really good, and the price point is really good. So we do have storefronts that we're working on, that have a bigger variety of different things. Like I said, it's all custom. So this blaze, that's what they kind of wanted. That's what they really were looking for, and that's what we provided.
Awesome, thank you. And then if somebody is interested, how do they get in contact with you all?
Yep. Best way to get in contact with me is this Dana at ritualmotion.com. You can kind of email me, and I get it. We have a whole varsity team that works on this. I think the other key thing too is, we look at this right now, um, just as kids do not let their parents do not let their kids go play soccer without putting shin pads on, right? And at the end of the day, these kids from junior high and up should be at least wearing some sort of hand protection and eye protection. And I'll also say this: it doesn't have to be from us. I just think it's really important that we start getting that, and it starts with you coaches, and it starts with these schools, because what's going to end up happening is like what happened with the NFL with concussions, right? They knew that it was going on. They didn't really do anything about it until it got to the point. Well, we know kids that play for a long time, there's hand and wrist injuries. It's proven. The data is out there. Blue light has a negative effect on folks when they have a lot of screen time. So I'm just saying, let's be proactive about it. I would rather have a lot of folks, everybody wear them, and it doesn't necessarily have to be from us, as long as we're getting that across. Because you get a kid from junior high in eighth grade, and he starts pursuing his, career as in esports. By the time they get to college, if they're not having the proper protection, if they don't understand about health and wellness and all the things that go to it, they're never going to finish their college career, right? This is all new. 10 years ago, we weren't even talking about programs like this in high school and colleges and stuff. So I think we can learn a lot of great lessons from traditional sports, things that they did right, and also things that, they didn't do right. And we can now adjust those and kind of be proactive with it.
Yeah, I can tell you if I may chime in. On our League of Legends team at my school, we've had this one kid who had to drop out of a game and a tournament because he was getting severe migraines.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
also mental wellness. We're coming into May, which is Mental Wellness Month, Awareness Month, and I think that's really important too, to understand that there's a lot of toxicity that goes on, and it's not going on when you guys are coaching them and the things. But I think you guys are the tip of the spear, you coaches, right? It's so important what you do, because you can kind of be that barometer to figure out what's going on with little Johnny or Susie. And if they are, in a game not being played with at the school, but when they go home and spend another 2 hours on Twitch, right? What's going on with that? And I think all these things, if we can address them together, we're gonna be able to, get these things resolved, right?
Awesome. Okay, I have one more question. I'm so sorry. But on the site, it talks about branding support. If somebody already has, like how Adam already had a pretty cool brand that they want to use or a logo that they want to use, can they just send that to you in their conversation as well?
Yep, they can send it to us. If they don't have branding support and they have some sort of ideas, we're more than happy. There's some things, obviously. We had a school that literally wanted to use Pikachu. And we were like, you can't, you know, you, you can't use Pikachu without, Father Nintendo coming down on us. So, I would just think, yeah, we work with the schools, we work with the coaches. Um, we've been getting a lot of, and this is something from the coaches too. So we've been getting a lot of requests from administrators at the schools, I'm putting these things in. So think about it. It's a capital investment for the school to build out um, your facility, right? If and that usually comes from administrating dollars or whatever. So if you can kind of get them involved with this and show that this is a way that this can be self-sustaining, um, it makes a lot of sense for them. They're getting behind it. So we are getting a lot, especially from the colleges. We're getting almost more requests from administrators on putting these programs together than some of even the coaches themselves, because the coaches, they're in season right now, right? They can't even think about that. But these administrators, it it is a cost, right? And so how can they defer that cost?
I,
Awesome. Go ahead, Adam.
I have a question. So is this something that like an individual would go to the storefront, buy something, and then it's shipped to their house? It's not like or what? How do y'all do it?
Yeah, so it goes shipped directly. So if Susie's uncle goes on and she gives him a flyer or however you want to market it to drive them to this thing, he goes on, buys it, and it would go directly to them. You don't have That's the other thing. Schools don't have to worry about anything. You're not lugging around inventory. You're not getting shipped 50 pairs of gaming skins. You're not getting shipped eyewear. You don't. When I tell you you don't have to worry about inventory, you don't have to worry about inventory. It's literally, once you give us your logo, give us your story, if there's a video around your school or whatever those assets when we build out the page, that's it. Other than that, everything is automated. Every month you get a check cut to you based on what those sales are. Everything is shipped out directly to whoever ordered it. You don't really have to worry about any of that.
One last question, just for me, not to hog up the whole thing,
Yeah.
because I'm very interested. If you can't tell, uh, and I think it's great. The whole setup, everything about it, I think is wonderful. What is the printing area for the shirt? Like, is it kind of the top square, or is it the full thing available? Like, where are you able to
Yeah, so
print?
so so we do have we do full dye sublimation. That's not on that with, I don't think it was on the Blaze Fire one either, but we do have a partner that does do dye sublimated jerseys as you normally see. Other than that, it can be printed where, once again, normally it's on the chest area. We've asked Folks have asked us to put the names of the kids on the back. We can do that also.
Is the sublimation that's referring to, like, you can print on the entire thing? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a lot more expensive than the regular?
That all depends on what jersey you end up going with, right? You go with a high end jersey, it's going to be more money as opposed to a low end. So for them, I'd hate to even give you a range, but I think it would probably be somewhere between 30 and they could be up to $60. Some folks wanted long sleeves, full all over print. They wanted a very high quality garment. Though that's going to change your price point. That's the beauty of this. We customize it to your needs, because your school's needs and kids' needs are going to be different than maybe even someone, excuse me, 20 miles down the road from you, right? So we customize it for that. It's not one size kind of, everyone gets the same shirt, and that's what you get.
Awesome. We have a couple questions in the chat. Somebody asked, is there a time limit? Is it like just for in season, or can it be
Nope.
open year round?
Open year round. Open year round.
And then you mentioned jerseys, and this may just be like defining things differently. They wanted an example of a jersey. I see some like t-shirts and Blaze, but not necessarily like what you would consider like a classic esports looking jersey. Do you all have those as well?
We do, and I can send you, Melanie, later a link, and
Okay.
and you can kind of get them from there. See them.
Okay. I would also recommend that they just reach out to you all and
Yeah,
see what they can get through you, because it sounds like they have many options, which is amazing. Um, awesome. We have a few minutes left. Any last questions for Adam or Dana? Cool. I'm going to move on so that maybe we can go. All right. And that's it. We don't have any more other coach chats planned for right now. due to playoff season and championships, we want to focus on that and get broadcasts out for those. We will be planning out some more events later, probably during summertime. And as we get closer to fall, you can reach out to me if you have any questions about those events. Melanie at playvs.com. And thank you, Adam and Dana. It doesn't look anyone's posting any questions. If you haven't already, sign up for Play Versus. We'd appreciate it. And have a great evening. We appreciate your expertise.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.